Thank the member for Bendigo. The question is that the amendments be agreed to. And I call the member for Newcastle.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker.
No, I did make a mistake, if you wouldn't mind. The member for Denison was on his feet first. Sorry.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Look, as a general rule, Deputy Speaker, I support means testing. I support the idea of people who have more money should pay their fair share. So on the face of it, you think I would vote with the coalition government and the Greens on this. But I can't bring myself to do that, Deputy Speaker. In this case, I will support the Labor opposition, and I'll do that for a range of reasons. For a start, I don't believe I can bring myself to support a broken promise. The Liberal Party, the National Party, before the 2013 federal election, made it very, very clear that there would be no change to pensions, and this is clearly a change to pensions. And that's wrong, and I will not support a broken promise. I also find I can't support something that doesn't have appropriate grandfather provisions, because at the end of the day, we've got all of these pensioners out there who have made a lot of decisions over many years to get themselves into the situation they're in, and it's not fair, out of the blue, to strip the sort of income away from them that some of them are going to face. We've already heard an example of some pensioners losing $8,000 a year. And when you are on a modest income, a small amount of money can make a disproportionate difference. It is that extra bit of money might be your only discretionary income. In fact, that extra bit of money might already be built into the cost structures you have in your life these days. You just can't simply come along and with no warning take it away from them. I would, Deputy Speaker, have a much different response to this bill if there were appropriate grandfather provisions, so that everyone would have, who is currently a pensioner would have their current arrangements maintained, and in fact the grandfathering provisions would ensure that people who are soon to retire would also be able to retire with the old arrangements. Make these sorts of changes something for the future, something that people who are still, I don't know, maybe 10 years away from retirement can then factor into their new calculations and plan for. Deputy Speaker, I also am concerned that these changes are badly designed. It doesn't make any sense that someone on, say, a couple with $600,000 in assets would effectively have a bigger income than someone with $800,000 in assets. I mean, for a start, that is a disincentive. I mean, it's unfair, but it's also a disincentive to people to save and a disincentive to people to be putting as much money as they humanly can into superannuation. And what of the people who have been struggling to save outside the superannuation system, say to leave some extra for their kids? What about those people? I mean, it's not acceptable simply to say that people can draw down their super more quickly, because the reality is this asset threshold includes all of their assets, including non-super assets. And for some people it will include substantial sums of money that they have saved to leave an inheritance for their children. People who have, say, gone without things their whole life to leave that little nest egg for their kids. So you can't just defend, the government can't just defend its bill by saying people can draw down their super more quickly, because it just doesn't work that way. And in fact, for a single person, by the time they have their car and their goods and chattels, a bit of super, a bit of cash aside from super, there's not actually a lot of super there, and they will draw it down much too quickly, and in fact, before they know it, be on the full age pension, and they will have lost their nest egg that perhaps they were keeping for any unforeseen medical bills and so on. Deputy Speaker, if I can just close by making the point, I've made it many times in this place, we're a rich country. We can afford to look after the young, the students, the unemployed, the sick, the disabled and the older Australians. We can afford to look after them. With an annual federal budget of close to $400 billion a year, with the right priorities, we can look after the people that need to be looked after. And we can certainly afford to pay more to people on the full-age pension. The issue here is not that it's one or the other. We've got enough money to keep the existing pension arrangements and to find a bit extra money, Deputy Speaker, for people who are on the full age pension at that end of the spectrum. That's what we should be turning our mind to, working out how we can help people on lower incomes better while keeping in place the arrangement for people who are a little bit better off. Thanks, Deputy Speaker.
Member for Denison's time has